Well, we were talking about the Fourth Amendment in my AP Government and Politics class, and one of my students asked me point blank, if giving the federal government the ability to surveil everyone in the United States without a warrant would result in saving the life of your wife and your children and your grandchildren, would you want the federal government to have that power? Let's see what the Constitution has to say. Well, today is 9/11, and in Florida, it is 9/11 Heroes Day. And the Florida State Legislature has mandated that we talk about 9/11 for 48 minutes in every one of our social studies classrooms. So today, in most of my classes, except for my finance class, but they'll be getting it in a different time during the day, we're talking about 9/11 Heroes Day and what happened, the individuals that gave their life to save the life of others, and then the outflow of that, the Patriot Act, the Homeland Security, etc. We'll be talking about all that in class today, but in my AP Government class, when we were dealing with the Bill of Rights, one of my students asked me point blank if giving the government the ability to surveil you without a warrant could save your family's life, would you want them to have it? I said no, I would not, which shocked most of my students because they know how much I love my wife and my kids and grandkids, and they're real shocked by that. And the reason this came to my mind was some individuals who are anti-Charlie Kirk have been throwing around what he said about our right to have a gun and then throwing it in his family's face. And it got me thinking about that conversation I had in class. Do I believe that the government should have the ability to warrantlessly surveil Americans in order to keep us safe? I'm often asked, well, what's wrong with letting the police search your car when they ask? I mean, if you're innocent, what do you have to hide? And this is a critical matter in government. The Fourth Amendment was established by our founders for a very critical reason. The burden of proof to demonstrate an individual's guilt must always rest on the government, not the citizenry. It is not my job to demonstrate to the government that I'm innocent. It's not my job to demonstrate to the government that I have nothing to hide. It is always the burden of proof for the federal government to demonstrate that there is a reason for them to surveil you, for them to engage in surveillance over you. This is critical to freedom. And if we make the shift in our minds that it's our burden to demonstrate innocence and not the government's job to demonstrate guilt, then we have crossed a critical threshold that is dangerous for the ongoing advancement of freedom in America. So I would encourage you to wrestle with this. We're going to be talking about freedom and independence and the powers of the government. And all of this is tied to our standards here in Florida and what the government should constitutionally have the right to do and what the government does not have the constitutional right to do when it comes to interacting with our citizens. If you'd like to look up a critical case related to this, Mapp v. Ohio, it's simple Google search, MAPP versus Ohio, and it's a case about a warrantless search. In fact, it's a case about a fake warrant search that resulted in Matt being arrested, and you can find all the details about that online and how that case was thrown out because the federal government violated her rights. So please, I'm encouraging you, advocate for your rights. Make sure that you're an individual who is not willing to give up freedom in exchange for security, because as was once said, if you do that, you'll end up with neither. If you like this content, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you again next time.